Hello and good evening. You're watching Awani Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzuki. The search and rescue SAR team for the Indian tourist who fell into a sinkhole last week will now utilize the jetting technique, which involves high-pressure water spraying. Dang Wangi District Police Chief, Assistant Commissioner Sulizmi Afendi Sulaiman, says the technique was employed after the team discovered a hard object stuck in the manhole during the operation conducted between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. today. Search and rescue operations resumed for the fourth day at the sewage plant in Pantai Dalam. Earlier, Indah Water Consortium conducted flushing works in the manhole path at the incident site but did not find any clues. The 48-year-old victim, a tourist from India, fell into the 8-meter sinkhole after a section of the sidewalk collapsed along Jalan Masjid India last Friday. Former Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin will be charged under the Sedition Act at the Gua Musang Sessions Court tomorrow. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein says this is related to a speech made in the recent Nenggiri by-election campaign, which allegedly touched on issues involving the 3 Rs: race, religion and royalty.
Razaruddin confirmed that the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, has directed that Muhyiddin be charged under Section 4(1) of the Sedition Act. The hearing is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Last week, police submitted an investigation paper to the AGC for further action regarding Muhyiddin's speech. Razaruddin added that statements have been taken from Muhyiddin and 66 witnesses to aid in the investigation. The Perikatan Nasional chairman allegedly questioned the authority of the Sultan of Pahang during his tenure as the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong.
Malaysia's new social media regulation, requiring platforms with over 8 million users to obtain licensing, has met with opposition from major tech companies. The Asia Internet Coalition, or AIC, which includes tech giants like Meta, Apple, Amazon, Google, Grab and X, has raised serious concerns about the framework in an open letter to Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, urging the government to reconsider.
The AIC requested a pause on implementing the MCMC's new regulation set to begin on January 1st next year. They argued that the licensing requirement could stifle innovation and deter future investment in the industry. The coalition also criticized the lack of formal discussions and public consultations before the August 1st release of the information paper and facts, leaving the industry uncertain. While recognizing the need to tackle online harms such as scams, hate speech and risks to minors, the AIC stressed that the proposed timeline is too short for platforms to fully adapt to the new requirements. The AIC expressed willingness to collaborate on solutions, but insisted that this collaboration must be based on transparency, fairness and reasonable timelines. Under the new regulation, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp and YouTube must apply for a license. Failure to comply could result in penalties of up to 500,000 ringgit, imprisonment for up to 5 years or both.
25 out of 31 suspected cases of Mpox in Malaysia have tested negative, while 6 are still being monitored. Therefore, Health Minister Dato Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad says the number of Mpox cases in the country remains at 9.
He confirmed that from December 2023 till present, Malaysia has reported no new Mpox cases. The first case was reported on July 26, 2023, and the last was in November the same year. Dr. Zul said immediate steps were taken by his ministry following the increase in cases in neighbouring countries, with more stringent screening at the country's entry points and the activation of 10 laboratories that conduct PCR tests for verification purposes. The minister added that the country is also sending more and regular circulars to both public and private health facilities. On August 14th, the World Health Organization declared Mpox, also known as monkeypox, as a global public health emergency of international concern.
The Health Ministry confirmed that Malaysia is not facing a crisis of insulin shortage. In fact, according to Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, the current supply could last until the end of the year.
He said Malaysia is expected to get the supply of the human insulin within 60 days, adding that the ministry had opted for a fast track as opposed to receiving it in a few months. Zulkifli also clarified that the issue arose from one of its providers unable to meet contractual obligations. He also assured that the shortage will not affect patient care. In ensuring uninterrupted patient treatment, the Health Ministry has also implemented several measures, including increasing the use of analog insulin and oral therapies.
Prasarana Malaysia Berhad confirms it was hit by a cybersecurity breach involving part of its internal systems. However, it assures the incident has not caused any disruption to its daily operations.
In a statement, the country's bus and rail service operator said it was liaising with cybersecurity experts to investigate the situation. It was also working with the National Cybersecurity Agency and Cybersecurity Malaysia to ensure all necessary measures were taken to safeguard its systems. Prasarana had reportedly fallen victim to a ransomware attack by Ransom Hub, one of the largest ransomware groups currently in operation. Ransom Hub claimed it had obtained over 300 gigabytes of the organization's data and planned to publish it within the next week.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
Semenjak bertukar menjadi Wan, saya kena ikut Puteri Kasih ke mana saja. Nasib baik ada Astrogo. Saya boleh stream bila-bila masa, di mana jua.
Hiburan terbaik hanya di sini.
Welcome back. Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel on Sunday, as Israel's military said it struck Lebanon with around 100 jets toward a larger attack. This was one of the biggest clashes in more than 10 months of border warfare.
The Israeli army said jets destroyed thousands of the Iran-backed armed group's rocket launches on Sunday morning. 3 Hezbollah fighters had been killed in the attacks. Meanwhile, Hezbollah said it fired 320 rockets and drones at Israel in retaliation for the assassination of a senior commander, killing 1 Israeli Navy soldier. Both sides indicated they were happy to avoid further escalation for now, but warned that there could be more strikes to come. There was no agreement in the Gaza ceasefire talks that took place in Cairo, Egypt, with neither Hamas nor Israel agreeing to several compromises presented by mediators. However, a senior U.S. official described the talks as constructive and said the process would continue in the coming days.
Some 60 media and rights organizations has urged the European Union to suspend cooperation treaty with Israel and impose sanctions, accusing it of massacring journalists in Gaza. In a statement, Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, and the other groups claim that the Israeli authorities have been responsible for numerous journalist deaths and press freedom violations since the start of the war with Hamas.
Since October 7th, over 130 Palestinian journalists and media professionals have been killed by Israeli forces in Gaza, including at least 30 while working. 3 Lebanese journalists and an Israeli journalist have also been killed during this period. The groups argue that the deliberate or reckless killing of journalists constitutes a war crime. They urge the EU to ensure the Israeli government stops these violations and allows media access to Gaza. Among the other signatories were the Committee to Protect Journalists and Human Rights Watch. The call came ahead of a meeting by EU foreign ministers in Brussels on August 29th.
Telegram has stated that its founder and CEO, Pavel Durov, has nothing to hide following his arrest in Paris on Saturday over alleged offences related to the messaging app. In a statement, Telegram called it absurd to hold an owner responsible for the misuse of a social media platform.
It added that Telegram abides by EU laws, including the Digital Services Act, and its moderation is within industry standards and constantly improving. The 39-year-old Russian billionaire was arrested at Le Bourget airport outside Paris shortly after landing on a private jet from Azerbaijan late on Saturday. French investigators had issued a warrant for Durov's arrest as part of an inquiry into allegations of fraud, drug trafficking, organized crime, promotion of terrorism and cyberbullying. Durov is accused of failing to act to prevent the criminal use of his platform. He left Russia in 2014 after refusing to comply with demands to shut down opposition communities on his VK social media platform, often referred to as Russia's version of Facebook. Durov then shifted his focus to Telegram, which has around 950 million users. He now lives in Dubai, where Telegram is based, and holds citizenship in both France and the UAE.
Workers in Australia will now have the legal right to disconnect, allowing them to ignore unreasonable out-of-hours contact from employers. The new rule, which came into force today, means employees, in most cases, cannot be punished for refusing to read or respond to contacts from their employers outside work hours.
The law is similar to legislation in some European and Latin American countries. Unions welcomed the legislation, saying it gave workers a way to reclaim a level of work-life balance. The law, enacted in February, came into force for medium-sized and large companies as of Monday. Smaller companies with fewer than 15 employees will be covered from August 26, 2025. Under the law, workers may be ordered by a tribunal to stop unreasonably refusing out-of-hours contact, and employers likewise may be ordered to stop unreasonably requiring employees to respond. Deciding factors may include the reason for the contact, the nature of the employee's role, and their compensation for working extra hours or being available.
The Paralympic torch has arrived in France ahead of the start of the Paris 2024 Paralympics. The torch relay will conclude with 12 flames traveling throughout the French capital before lighting the cauldron at the opening ceremony this Wednesday.
One day after the lighting ceremony in Stoke Mandeville, the birthplace of the Paralympic Games, the torch made its way through the Channel Tunnel to mark the start of the Games in Paris. Sunday's relay saw 24 British athletes carrying the torch through the tunnel from Folkestone, joining 24 French athletes halfway to hand over the flame. Once in France, the flame split into 12 separate ones to travel across various locations. In the next 2 days, Paralympic icons, public figures and celebrities, including actor Jackie Chan, are set to carry the sacred fire. The Paris 2024 Paralympic Games will run from August 28th to September 8th, featuring more than 4,000 athletes from around the world competing in 22 sports.
And that wraps up this edition of Awani Tonight. I'm Hafiz Marzuki. Thanks for watching and good night.